Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of The Handmaid's Tale Season 4, Episode 5. I've got a lot of takes personally on this episode, but here's the thing. If there was ever a TV episode that is a pure example of just like them manipulating the heck out of me and me not even caring, it's like I really like this episode, despite the fact that there's at least like 5 reasons why I should just unobjectively hate it with every fabric of my being.
For me, this was actually not one of my favorite episodes. There were some moments that I really liked, but I kind of felt like a lot was happening, but nothing was happening. There's been a lot of these types of episodes lately with other shows we've been covering too, where it was like a lot happened, but not a lot happened.
That should be how I feel. Like, I should be sitting here being like, there was a lot of wasted time here, there was a lot of hokey coincidences, but then they start playing that cover of Coldplay's Fix You at the end with Moira showing up, and I'm just like, oh, my heart, I can't take it.
No, the Moira at the end was great. I had been hoping that they would find a way to bring her back into that world. I always felt like they took her away from that world too quickly, and I'm kind of hoping she decides to stay, but we will get more into that.
Well, if you guys do enjoy this discussion, hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers.
We are almost there.
We are getting there. Thank you guys so much for your support. We're also here discussing The Handmaid's Tale all season long. You don't want to miss any of that.
And also be sure to follow us over on Instagram. It's Matt and Jess TV. We just moved. We got some pictures up there, so check it out.
Okay, I got us to say, that is completely unbelievable that Moira is somehow on the same street as June while the explosions are going down, and I do not care whatsoever.
Yeah, okay, it's a little bit unbelievable, but at the same time, I mean, I understand she's sort of part of this aid to help, and, you know, we know with everything that went on with Nick and Lawrence that they were opening up the borders for this type of stuff, and then we had the last minute, oh, by the way, Nick, you're also just before everything is all fine, you were gonna bomb everybody.
It's just like, that is so terrible. It is like so out of left field. We're gonna throw this on you now, Nick, while at the same time June is there, while Moira is showing up there.
Yeah, okay, so like I mentioned at the beginning of this, I always felt that Moira left too soon because now she's in Canada. She doesn't really have a lot to do. She's been kind of feeling that in some kind of ways, that she still wants to help. But there's only so much you can do from sort of the safety of your own apartment sort of thing. Hopes and prayers, like there isn't a lot. She is, of course, part of this aid, but I mean, it seems that the borders have been closed for a little while now since all the kids went up there. They're just like, nope, all done, trade over. There's nothing happening. So to see her get back in there to help, now that she's seen June and she knows that June is not going to leave, I'm hoping that that part of Moira will be like, you know what? I am also not leaving.
I really hope so, because it feels like Moira's story for like, I don't know how long has just sort of been like, you know, I know she's been doing stuff, but it's just so separate and so isolated from like almost everything else. And it's been almost like 2 or 3 different shows going on at the same time. We needed the reunion. I have no idea what this reunion really actually means, but it's important.
Yeah, I mean, my hope is that it's not going to be Moira just trying to get June to go back, June saying no, Moira leaving. Like, it's not... If you're going to have them meet, it needs to be for more of a purpose than that, because Moira already knows that June is not leaving until she's done as much as she can. So if that's the purpose, then there's no purpose.
There's got to be something more, and I hope it's not just sort of the show circling the wagons and finding a way to get June kind of back in similar positions. I think this is why I weirdly really like this episode, is it felt like the show was evolving a little bit. Just these weird city scenes. It felt almost like a hybrid of The Walking Dead and that movie Children of Men, where it's just like them running through this like barren city.
Yeah, and I think that's why a part of me was starting to feel like I'm not sure about this show right now, because here's the thing.
Yeah.
Gilead and everything that was going on, and when June was in there and all the horrible atrocities that were happening and sort of the different weird dynamics, was part of what I was tuning in for this show to see, because it's so awful and weird and bizarre how this society is working and how anyone is allowing this to happen. The men, the women, the children, any of them want to actually live like this, including the commanders. I mean, I know that society is sort of all based on power hierarchies and stuff like that, but I mean, there's so many commanders now that have been dropped from their positions, and sort of that feeling that there should be at that point. I'm more interested in what is going on in Gilead than watching June go on a supply run. It is starting to feel like Walking Dead, which was a show that I truly enjoyed the first few seasons, and then it was every episode, I'm going on a supply run. I'm looking for other groups of people. I am also going on a supply run and looking for other groups of people. And that's what this episode felt like to me. We're looking for food. We're trading, you know, whatever. Here's my cloaks for a baseball cap. Let's look for other groups of people. I'm just like, oh no, this is not really what I want to watch. It's why I dipped out on Walking Dead. I'm not dipping out. But that was why I dipped out on Walking Dead. So I hope that they're going to kind of find a way to, because right now Gilead doesn't feel like it has any role right now.
Yeah, it's weird. It feels like we're in kind of this awkward bridge phase. Like, I will agree with you that if this is just the show moving forward, I'm not going to be happy. I hope that this is sort of a means to a little bit of a different end where we have June in a new position, but also it still feels like The Handmaid's Tale, just not like a repeat of the first few seasons.
Yeah, because there's some people that want her back. Like, Lydia wants her back to punish her, which is just feels like a bit of a revenge for what has happened to Lydia, even though she's been reinstated. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Yeah. But Nick seems to want to find her to bring her back. I don't know why, because this is someone that he allegedly loves. He wants the best for her, but he wants to bring her back into this world. I mean, that's not love. He doesn't get to be with her. She's going to be sent to these birthing colonies. Yeah. He's never really going to see her again. Where's the actual love, Nick? Okay, it's just pure selfishness at this point.
This is one of the bigger questions that I do have with this episode, and this is probably my biggest bugaboo. It's just that I don't know what people's motivations are. Like you said with Nick, I don't know what Nick's motivations are. I don't really even understand what Commander Lawrence's endgame and all of this is. I did find it enjoyable, his whole, I'm going to find a way to manipulate Aunt Lydia, and then Lydia's like, I'm going to find a way to manipulate Commander Lawrence.
Yeah, I like that too. Lydia's story was really good. It was good to see, you know, she's getting benched because of everything that's happened. She let these handmaids, you know, disappear on her watch. She's done. Aunt Ruth is like, get back on your treadmill and play some bridge. That's your life now. It was good to see her find a way, as she always does, to manipulate the situation to get back her position again. However, it was also interesting to see her sort of working with the handmaids again, but her speech felt a little bit different. There still was, oh, we're under his eye or whatever, but then there was a lot of, I'm gonna be here for you. Don't let these men treat you any which way. If something is happening to you, you need to come to me, which is part of a speech I hadn't heard before.
I think it may be a slow turning of this character. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say that I think Aunt Lydia is worthy of redemption or anything like that.
I don't want her to be honest. Like, I just don't. She does not need a redemption arc.
But I do think we're seeing her kind of change a little bit, where now she's sort of been the brunt of how, like, terrible all these other people are. And I think she may have, I don't know if it's more sympathy for the handmaids, but I think she understands their position maybe a little bit more. And I think more than anything else, she doesn't want to be the person being mistreated anymore. And if it's just all about Aunt Lydia, she's probably just like, okay, I'm going to sort of lean into this angle more, and then no one's ever going to get rid of me. I don't have to do any more garbage. I can just sit here and order these people around.
And I think Lydia is starting to realize that she has more power in the way that she leans into different people. Like, she was able to sort of lean into the council to kind of give them a little bit of the gears, but still get a little bit of what she wanted. Even when she got benched, she had enough information to blackmail Lawrence and get back where, you know, she needed to be, help him get back on the council. She's been able to manipulate a lot of situations. And as horrible as she is, I think she feels a protection over the girls. And I say girls because that's what she calls them, even though they are women. That she is able to still find a way to protect them, but she feels that she can't do anything if she's benched.
I feel like this episode needed like 3 or 4 more minutes, and I don't say that often because I think shows go into a lot of overkill, but I feel like it's just, we're kind of getting like a half-hearted portrayal of like the politics of this world, where it goes a little bit Game of Thrones-y, where we have Gilead and everything that's going on here, and then America, and I don't think you get enough clarity on the conflicts, the moves, the chess pieces, like Commander Lawrence's position in all of this. It's just sort of like, okay, we're going to go and do this now. I'm going to go along with it.
Yeah, it feels a bit fractured. Like everything is still going on in Gilead, but all the major players besides Lydia that we were invested in, that were there, are all gone. Like Fred and Serena are in Canada. June is on the run. Janine, we haven't even spoken about her. It's 11 minutes. Where's Janine? You know, Lydia is really the only sort of character that's left besides, you know, Nick, who I think a lot of us are just kind of on the fence about. That it feels like Gilead is slowly kind of moving out of this story, and we are moving more into this resistance. And I just want, I think, to see June with the actual Mayday or with the Nighthawks or with whoever, some resistance, instead of this wandering around looking for camps and looking for supplies.
This is probably why I like this episode so much. There was 0 Fred in this entire episode. We can all rejoice in that.
And Serena is also terrible.
Yes.
I know you like the actress. I like her too, but she is terrible and also responsible.
Yes, she is terrible and responsible. Just, this is my corner. This is the I hate Fred corner that I will revisit every episode Fred is here.
And I am here to remind everyone that Serena is also really bad.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about Janine, because we saw her having this relationship with Steven. She was feeling pretty good about it. She was starting to feel a little bit more like herself, a little more in control of what she wants to do, which was nice, because you don't get that many moments in the show where it's like that for anybody, to just have joy.
I was fascinated by the whole dynamic with June and Janine in this episode, because it did feel like, despite all of the obvious red flags, and there are many of them, there is like air traffic controller levels of red flags all around this Steven guy. Janine seems to be, I guess, kind of okay with her position here. I don't know if she's just been indoctrinated, if this is just what she really likes, but it's what she feels.
Yeah, I mean, she was very clear with June, because June is feeling kind of like what you were saying. Oh, you're just kind of stuck in this, you know, circle because of everything that's happened. Janine is like, no. Again, sort of that underestimated not listening to her, where she's just like, no, I'm having a good time. Like, I've made my choice to be with Steven. I'm enjoying being with Steven. And we saw some scenes where he's teaching her how to use firearms, and it looks like Steven is actually really enjoying being with her as well. And of course, June is skeptical about it all because of how it all started, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it didn't evolve into something else. Janine has said it in the last episode. She's saying it here. This is consensual. This is something that she wants to do. So it's not something she felt pressured to do, forced to do. She wanted to do it. She's enjoying her relationship.
I can understand where both characters are coming from, and given that this show has a lot of questionable motivations in this episode, it's like, I really get these two. I understand their perspectives. I understand Janine in the end as well, being like, you know, we travel in pairs.
Yeah, that was actually a really interesting sort of scene there, because we had just seen Lydia putting everyone together, being like, you will never walk alone again. Handmaids, you will always have someone. You will never be alone. And then we saw Janine show up to be like, hey, we will never be alone. Let's, you know, walk together sort of thing. And I get it, and I was really glad to see Janine show up, but at the same time, she felt very certain about her spot where she was. She doesn't she doesn't want to fight. That's not part of what she's looking for. She is looking to sort of find her group of people and settle down and try to live out as much of a normal life. So there was a part of me that felt a bit sad that she decided to go off with June instead of sticking where she was, where we did see some joy. We saw some smiles. We saw her feeling like part of a community, and she gave it up to walk with June.
I hope it's revisited. Like, I hope they really do touch on this idea that, you know, Janine's making a sacrifice here for June, and I hope June doesn't take it for granted, and I hope she understands and she looks after Janine in a different way because of this. I mean, first and foremost, she gotta find Janine. Like, there's the obvious question. Is Janine dead? Has Janine been blown up?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We saw that one person that kind of looked like maybe she was wearing Janine's clothes being walked away by a help, but I don't know. Of course, Moira showed up and all of a sudden it was like, oh, this is happening over here. But no one is forgetting about Janine. We need some answers on that. She cannot leave the show. She is such an important character. And if this is how she goes out, she leaves this place that has brought her joy to be with June, and now she's dead. Like, what? Man, what is the purpose of this? It's going to be a bit of a letdown.
Listen, Handmaid's Tale producers. You've killed off enough people this season already. In particular, you've killed off enough handmaids this season already.
Yeah, we've lost enough handmaids.
I think she's still alive. I think so. I'm not even too worried about it. I don't know if it's going to be so far as like episode 6 picks up and like 2 minutes in, Janine's just like, hey June, I'm right over here. That would be so infuriating giving this ending.
Yeah.
But I could totally see that happening. So we're on the same boat here.
Yeah, it's just Handmaid's Tale is in a very weird spot right now because Gilead is off doing what Gilead is doing, and there's right now for me, besides Lydia's story, there's nobody over there that I'm really invested in right now. They're just not really showing us that, which is what I was tuning in for. If I'm gonna see June go off and be part of the rebels, they need to wrap that up quick. I don't want to see her wandering around America by herself.
But if you guys continue to give me reunion music just with Coldplay in the background, like,
it's been a long week of Coldplay. Well,
I know,
man.
listen.
I had to watch it on Idol. I got to watch it here. I am not a fan of Coldplay. For all of you out there that's like, why is she complaining about Coldplay? This is why.
Listen, it was the best cover of Fix You I have heard, and it is a song I've heard covered 2 million times on singing shows. But I irrationally enjoyed this episode probably more than I should have because it has a lot of problems. But you know what? Here we are, we're 5 episodes in, and we gotta hear from you guys. What did you think about this episode entitled Chicago? Is this feeling like The Handmaid's Tale anymore? Do you miss Fred? And of course you don't miss Fred, but let us know your thoughts in the comments, and if you like this video, subscribe, give us a like, support us more, check those links to the store, our Patreon, and we'll see you here next time.